Hello, everybody. How are you? That's good. Honored students, colleagues, and guests, I do thank you for this opportunity to share in an event that is so meaningful to each of you. I really can't think of any place on this planet that I would rather be than right here, right now, with all of you. First, I would like to congratulate our graduates. You have worked hard to achieve your goals, and this milestone is one of the dividends of that investment. It's an investment that will pay off for many years to come. This afternoon, we recognize your commitment to hard work, to persistence, to patience, and to your own learning. More than the credits or the grades that you have earned, those are the qualities that will ensure your success in life. Second, I would like to thank Meryl Sacken, John Murphy, Scott Schmeith, Chrissy Menko, John Markwell, Todd Berthium, all of the commencement volunteers for arranging this day. I appreciate it. Some of the musicians are leaving now. We thank them. I would like to dedicate, what the heck? I would like to dedicate my message today to the memory of Professor Gretchen Watson of our English department and to Ken Ketchum, our Director of Information Technology. Their spirit will always be present whenever we gather as a community to celebrate our students and their achievements. And dear graduates, colleagues, and guests, that is exactly why we are here today. As president of GCC, I am honored and consider it a great privilege to welcome you to the commencement and celebration of the achievements of the great class of 2007. It would be impossible to celebrate your achievements without recognizing all of those who have pushed, pulled, and supported you along your journey. I ask that you first recognize your parents, grandparents, sons, daughters, husbands, wives, partners, and friends who, like the network on the Verizon wireless commercials, they are with you even when you thought you were alone. So let's say thank you to them. And it really would be impossible to think about your academic achievements and your learning without thinking about the passion, the courage, the commitment, and the professionalism of the GCC faculty and staff. It was your teachers, those in and out of the classroom, that saw your potential, often before you, and then worked to equip you with the knowledge and the skills necessary to achieve that potential. Graduates, I ask that you stand and recognize and appreciate the heart and soul of this college, your teachers, the faculty, and the staff of GCC. Thank you all. Thank you. There are 3 key points that I would like to make in my comments today. Number 1, hope and learning are inexorably linked. 2, there is a developing crisis in the public education system of our nation, and you can do something about it. Number 3, learning how to learn is the most enduring outcome of your education. Have you ever walked around GCC paying close attention to all that is going on? Observing the intense engagement of the faculty, the students, and the staff in the math, science, music, art, and dance studios? Have you stopped to notice the beauty of the relationships that get formed in the peer tutoring, women's resource advising, and student life centers? Can't you just hear the quiet reflection of those in the library, or feel the dynamic interactions in the classrooms and offices all through the East, the North, the South, and the downtown buildings, it is hard not to get lifted by that energy. It is, in fact, impossible to walk around GCC and not feel an enormous sense of possibility and hope. I see lives change for the better every day, and I know that means that families will then grow stronger, our community will be strengthened, and our state's future will become socially as well as economically more robust. Our nation is elevated whenever and wherever learning transforms lives for the better. Even more powerful for me is that each of you came in the middle of life and not just preparing for it. Many of you came right out of high school choosing GCC as a first step towards the bachelor's degree. Some came in search of a career in nursing, massage therapy, education, criminal justice, or as an EMT. Others came after having achieved a GED. And a few of you came with a degree already in hand in search of change. Many of you came not really knowing why you came at all. Yet here you sit on the day of your graduation, still in the middle of life, but now with clarity of voice and clarity of direction. Your transformations inspire us all. You not only provide your families and your teachers with great joy and light today, you do, in fact, give our entire community a more hopeful tomorrow. Emily Dickinson wrote that hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without words and never stops at all. It is that hope that is found under this tent today, the hope that sings the tune without words and never stops at all, the hope that is you. Hope, then, is both the product and the process of learning. When I looked in the dictionary, hope was not listed as a synonym for either education or learning. But I will tell you that without hope, there is no learning. Without education, there is only hopelessness. Our nation is confronted with a very long and serious list of problems and challenges. And I know that at times it could all seem so overwhelming, so large, and so complex that sometimes we feel it's easier to seek simple solutions and then disengage and do nothing at all. Well, folks, that's just not good enough. That's just not going to cut it. You want a better planet, you go make it. You make that planet better. From the global to the national to the local issues at hand, the fact of the matter is that you do have a responsibility as a citizen in a democracy to be engaged, to show up at town meetings, to vote, to create positive change. But where does one begin? Which problem do you go after first? Well, the wise response would probably, for me to tell you today, to just pick an issue that you feel most passionate about, and then jump in. Jump in and be a part of that solution. But that's not my advice to you on this day of your commencement. No, I do believe there is a single best place to start, a top priority to focus your energies for the long term. Ladies and gentlemen, our nation is facing a problem of such magnitude that if ignored, this grand experiment in pluralism and democracy will have failed. What is this problem? This top priority, the one issue that I believe rises to the top of our collective to-do list. I suggest to you that our nation must begin to seriously address the developing crisis in our public education system. As you know, public education began here in Massachusetts. Thomas Jefferson believed that education for all was a crucial part of the success of the experiment that began in 1776. He once wrote that if a nation expects to be ignorant and free, it expects what never was and will never be. Building on Jeffersonian values and ideals, Horace Mann born in Franklin, Massachusetts, not Franklin County, was a poor farmer, then a lawyer, and then he became a politician. Well, I guess with those credentials, he could have been from Franklin County. But man saw public education as a vehicle for achieving the greatest good for the largest population. At its best, he states that public education is the great equalizer of the conditions of men and women, the balance wheel of the social machine. What I'm trying to say here, and the point that I'm trying to make, is that there were some very smart people who worked to create our nation, and they, from the beginning, understood that public education is essential to our democracy's very survival. How big a problem is it, you ask? Just listen to some of these numbers. Author, educator, and businessman Chris Whittle suggests that 15 million children of the United States of America are not learning enough to be successful in today's society. That means that America has more children who are below basic levels of achievement than England has children. And according to teacher Carl Fish, China has more honor students than the U.S. has students. Jonathan Kozol, in an earlier work on literacy, suggests that approximately 1/3 of our nation, 60 million people, are functionally illiterate. In Massachusetts, 12% of our young people in high schools are dropping out every year. Well, the number will fluctuate each year, up a little, down a little, but that means that about 75,000 high school students are leaving our public schools before they earn a degree. But this is not just a crisis here in Massachusetts. In fact, there is a high school dropout epidemic across America. Each year, 30% of all public high school students and about 50% of all Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans fail to graduate with their class. And this failure rate has not improved during the past 10 to 20 years of education reform. The consequences are tragic. These young people, all of those who leave before graduation, all across our nation, are more likely, not guaranteed to, but are more likely to be unemployed, living in poverty, receiving public assistance, in prison or on death row. Compound the costs of that cycle with the understanding that these folks pay fewer taxes, contribute less to the economy, and increase the cost of health care to us all. And graduates, what do you think is the impact on the day-to-day quality of their lives? 15 million children below basic levels of achievement, 60 million Americans functionally illiterate, and 30% of all public high school students failing to graduate with their class. Let me ask you this question. If those statistics were about automobiles, dog food, missiles, or stocks that were failing, how would our nation react? Of course, if you ask anyone in this tent, anyone in the county, anyone across America, if you would ask them which is more important, our children or those stocks or those weapons or those cars, their answer would be passionate and clear. So why the difference? Why is there not the same level of concern and reaction to children who cannot read as there is to a failing car or a falling stock? If hope and learning are one, then just think of the possibilities and the potential of a truly educated society where every member of that society is engaged. Sustainable energy, healthcare, poverty, hunger, homelessness, more quality jobs, global warming, violence, terrorism, and war. All are problems that can be creatively resolved by an educated America. But what hope is there for peace if our children cannot read? Now, of course, there are some extraordinary and wonderful things happening in the public schools of our nation every day, all throughout the nation and all throughout Franklin County. But who has access to that excellence? Who has access to those schools, those teachers, and those resources? The educational access gap in America is as wide as the income gap in America. Yes, graduates, there is an urgency to the developing crisis that exists in our national public in our nation's public schools. Okay, so I know that you get it. I really do. You, in fact, get it more than most. As a result of your having made the decision to come to GCC and to earn this degree, you understand just how important public education really is, and you understand it at a very deep and personal level. But you now have a responsibility to share your story and to carry the message of the importance of public education, its importance to you personally, the importance to our community, and just how essential it is to our democracy. All too often, however, our first reaction is to play the blame game instead of taking responsibility for change. Is it not better to assume one's responsibility than it is to point fingers and blame? You and I know that old torn and tattered game will not foster the solutions and that energy that will be needed. We cannot, for example, blame teachers, principals, superintendents. There are too many hardworking, caring, and very smart educators facing an uphill battle of overregulation and savage underfunding. We cannot blame local business leaders. They are, after all, the very same folks that have provided you with scholarships, that have provided you with financial aid and support for the development of our academic programs. And we should not blame our elected officials. Public education, after all, is a function of government, and government, in the final analysis, is us. And do we really want to blame parents, or choose instead to encourage parents to raise their own expectations as well as the aspirations of their children? Are you with me, folks? That's good. Assuming one's responsibility. Assuming one's responsibility and developing collaborations, that is the needed response. Educators, elected officials, the business community, and parents in every community working in collaboration can and will have a most powerful and profound effect on behalf of public education. Here is but one example. A group of concerned citizens in Kalamazoo, Michigan, came together and established the Kalamazoo Promise. They promised that every high school graduate would get a free college education. The hopes and the dreams of the people of that city were elevated overnight, and their economy seemed to follow suit. This past Friday afternoon, our governor unveiled what I consider to be a bold, comprehensive, thoughtful, and well-informed vision for public education in the Commonwealth. Now, I have not read much of the detail yet, nor have I really studied his plan. I did get an outline of his speech late Friday afternoon. But it does seem that he, like you, gets it. I applaud his leadership for describing what is needed for the future social and economic well-being of our state. Graduates, there are no easy answers, no magic bullets, no white knight that will come along and effortlessly reestablish this country's public education system as a model for the rest of the world. But together, really, together, we can accomplish that end, and together, we really must. Remember that I said there were 3 points. 1, hope and learning are one. 2, there is a developing crisis in our nation's public education system, but together we can do something about it. Well, this is point number 3, that learning how to learn is the most powerful outcome of your education here at GCC. Commencement speeches, by their very nature, tend to focus on themes of hope, responsibility, dreams, and achievement. Most try to inspire, to lift, to create light. But the truth of the matter is that as you travel along your journey, there will be moments when hope feels fleeting and the bright lights will turn dim. It will be late at night, and those problems that have been building from work, family, finances, or world issues will keep you from your sleep. And you find that your conversations with your good friends, Ben and Jerry, Bartz and Steve Harrell, will not solve the problem at hand. It will feel heavy, dark, or hopeless. It is in that moment It is in that moment that I want you to go over to wherever you keep your GCC diploma, on the wall, on your desk, or in the box with the other diplomas that you will earn along your journey. And then I want you to think about your classes here. I want you to think about your fellow students, your teachers, the reports, the tests, the essays, the struggles, and most of all, the achievements. I suggest to you that at that point you say the following words. You look at that diploma and you say out loud, "I have earned a GCC diploma." And that will remind you that in addition to all of the skills that you have developed and the knowledge that you have acquired, you have learned how to learn. And that, dear graduates, that is the key. That's the secret. The hidden treasure that no one can take from you now. Yes, you now have a key that will not only help you solve the issues at hand, but you also now possess the key that can turn the dark to light and the key that can create hope. Graduates, you have learned how to learn. Now go out, unlock the chains that keep you from your dreams. On behalf of the faculty and staff, the Board of Trustees, and the GCC Foundation, I want to congratulate the great class of 2007, and I wish you all Godspeed. Thank you. For 35 years, Professor Budge Hyde has been the very essence of art education at Greenfield Community College. As department chair, teacher, advisor, colleague, parent, and friend to many, he has epitomized the role of artist and educator. He has always, for him, it has always been important, in fact, necessary, that he be an artist first and foremost, for it is in his art that we find his passion for making art, especially painting. And that may be that is the essence of the truly great teacher and mentor that for the past 2 generations has been teaching passionately art here at GCC. His accomplishments are many. He holds a BFA degree from the University of Utah and an MFA from the University of Cincinnati. His work has been exhibited in New York, Oregon, and Florida, as well as in many local venues. The art department, as we know it today, can be directly attributed to his guidance and his vision. His students, and I know that many of you are here today, can be found throughout this country and throughout this county in roles too numerous to mention. Budge Hyde is an artist, he is a teacher, he is a mentor, he is a friend, he has been a leader here. Please join in welcoming Professor Budge Hyde.
What did I do with my glasses? Did I drop my glasses over there? Thank you very much. I appreciate this. Can all of you hear me in the back? The reason I say that is one of the first things I say in class, as some of you know, is everybody must hear. I have a couple of short messages for you. They won't get too long, but I appreciate the opportunity to say them. It is my distinct honor to speak with you today. I have to get My bearings. It's been a long time. I came here when I was 36. I've been here 35 years. You can do the counting. It is my distinct honor, as I said, and I congratulate all of you who made a commitment to begin this journey, and the discipline to see it through, which is even more important. There is a short but beautiful statement by the distinguished Polish poet Miłosz, who said, "You have begun the search for self-definition." Not long after this present war began, I noticed a statement written on a student's backpack that read, "Support the war." In my abbreviated conversation with her, I noted that she had not begun any process that might support that rationale. At some point, your education must encapsulate a concept that will provide new and creative ways of looking at the world. 4 years ago, for me, we allowed our shallow vision and compliant character to initiate a terrible deed on humanity. We most likely will look back on this war much like Vietnam, with splintered images and severe memories. There will also be no quick redemption. For many years, I have kept a small book by Dorothy Tuck on the novels and short stories of William Faulkner that reveal in his writings a common thread of history running through the Deep South, and which I believe is of particular significance to what our country is presently experiencing. The vitality and grandeur of pre-Civil War days, she states, is contrasted with the impotence and sterility of the present. But it must be remembered that the wrong committed by the old aristocrats have been visited upon those that came before them. Before the coming of the white man, the Native Americans had considered the land to be the private property of no one, to be enjoyed in common by all. The settlers brought two crucial concepts with them, that of private property and that of slavery. And it is to the outgrowths of these two concepts that almost all of the problems of our society can be traced. And she concludes by saying that a society built upon a precept that ignores the common humanity of mankind and establishes a morality and an economy that places social and economic codes above human values is doomed to failure. And in a similar context, I would add that there is a posed, familial, and existential relationship today between religion and politics, which I believe in their extremist positions tend only to support each other's weaknesses. Years ago, one of my philosophy professors noted that the only theology that can satisfy today's ideal is a theology of freedom that is committed to the destruction of every form of tyranny over our minds and souls. At present, I believe that what both religion and politics have now as a so-called common goal will play out later as a kind of persistent tension built on false pretenses, behind appearances of working well together. Graduates, if any of your faculty have disturbed your belief system and urged new ways to think and engage your mind, good for them. Fear of losing something is not part of your education, and it shouldn't be part of your life. It is inconceivable to leave this or any educational institution as the same person who came into it. I believe there must be a shift, however subtle, in your perception of the world. You do not have to fail your own humanity or be constrained by what you think you have to be Fassbinder, the great German artist and filmmaker, says there is no such thing as a marginal existence. For many years, I have kept a seemingly innocuous statement in my office. It is not a self-help statement, but rather a very strong directive. A clarification of roles, and the two roles I am referring to are artist/professor. They are uniquely different. I will tell you what the statement is when I give you some more of my personal art background, if you don't mind. I have been drawing for so long. I believe my first marks were most likely scribbled on the inner wall of my mother's womb. Something akin to the ancient caves of Lascaux. As I have often been told, it is difficult to distinguish my writing marks from my drawing marks. And recently, Professor Greg Voros' son Tyler asked me endearingly and without malice if I had ever learned the differences between upper and lowercase letters. I have not given him his grade yet, so he may not be able to get his diploma from his father. I love being an artist, and this is the reason why. Because it is vitally individualistic and cannot be reduced to a formula. In my early grade school days, I thought I was a good student. The teachers did not. I was born in the middle of the Depression years, followed by World War II. And it seemed important for administrators to tell teachers that all of their young students should write with their right hands. I was one of the left-handed students. I suppose it was okay. I still write and draw with my left hand, but use scissors and a lot of other things with my right. There were few, if any, grade school and high school curricula at the time where the emphasis was an actual study of art as a discipline. Conformity to similar time frames is not sufficient and never will be adequate for the artistic mind. Growing up, I was always amused by a person's persistent attempt to love the art, but little interest in understanding the nature of the artist and how the art got made. I have often used the metaphor that conception, gestation, and delivery is as much related to art as it is for conceiving a child. The conception is that romantic period when excitement runs high, contrasted by the gestation period, or rather the long labor and sometimes indefinite process when the artist goes slightly crazy. Oscar Wilde called it a long, lovely suicide. And up to and including the eventual delivery of something quite remarkable we call art. At one point during a semester, I was asked to come to the office of my genetics professor, who quite strongly said to me, "Quit changing the formula on my test questions." As artists, our world is often governed by paradox, imagination, and what is generally not visible to the eye. Now, most, if not all of you, have been studying in a discipline that also asks for your creative and imaginative strengths. You have the potential to disrupt the status quo. Please do so. Thank you. At a very young age, we moved from Nevada to you, my birthplace, and went to San Francisco. I would walk with my younger brother, to the San Francisco Art Institute, and we would wander through the painting studios and watch the students paint and draw from still life and the figure. No one said anything, and after several fascinating visits, I assumed it was necessary to have your clothes off to be an appropriate subject for painting. I watched students' frustrated attempts to create new and complex images and fell madly in love with this process. When I was ready to leave high school, get it together, Pudge, my wonderful mother was told that I did not have what they call the essential academic background. Have any of you ever been told that? which also meant probably maturity and or learning experience to attend the university. My mother had different ideas, and so did I. But they were probably right. My math and sciences had something to be desired, but for an artist, 2 + 2 has more potential definitives than 4. I had been in school for 12 years, from 5 to 17, and had gotten down most of the learning I was supposed to. I wanted something that I had not had before. I loved the university, and for the first time I was standing in a real art department with real professors and real people thinking about art and making art. It was an artist's atmosphere for discussion in art history, history of art, history of ideas, philosophy, mythology, and other courses, of course, that were happening, literature, physics, anthropology, but with a twist. The academic studies were integral to the art and my thinking for the first time in my life. I became aware that many of the most famous artists, with Picasso leading the way, were all alive and reinventing everything they touched. The world of art would now be so different and remarkably frustrating than anything we had ever seen before. In my first semester at the university, I was mistakenly enrolled in what I thought was a beginning painting course that turned out to be a 4th-year painting course. The professor was a figure painter from England, and after a discussion with the advanced students, allowed me to stay on 3 conditions. The first was I could draw in the class, not paint. I could watch any painter anytime but couldn't talk. I was not to be a nuisance. Second, I could not take it for credit. And third, I would agree to be one of the models for approximately 3 weeks. I had to think long and hard about that because I knew I wanted to stay. I remembered my experience as a kid with the San Francisco Art Institute. I sweated out when my turn came to model. I appreciated the fact that they dressed me up in a flight jacket with full clothing. Now let me conclude with some other words, please, that hang on what I said earlier that I have hanging in my office. There are 2 rectangles adjacent to one another. In the rectangle on the right, there is a hand with one finger pointing to the right. And the text above the hand says, "This way to Lectures on Paradise." In the rectangle on the left, there is also a hand with a finger pointing to the left. And the text above that says, "This way to Paradise." The best examples I can think of for lectures on paradise are those that relate to self-help books, the elimination of serious questioning and challenging discourse, lazy art, lazy theory, lazy philosophy, lazy theology, political expediency, and obsequious followership, just to name a few. The other side of the equation is equally disturbing. It will likely involve significant risk on your part. We are so often conditioned against things less familiar, less comfortable, and they often require a deeper emotional intensity. What appears to you as a triumph or accomplishment, it is in that moment when it is the most unique time to reconsider things and to completely scare yourself again. You have an inalienable right of dissent and to choose not to function the way you normally do. There is a startling, visceral, twisting of the knife, so to speak, comment from the artist Angela Bullock, who in her Earth First art series said, "Remember, the earth is not dying. It is being murdered and the people have names and addresses." You have no right to violence and oppression, but you do have the right to unsettle the very foundations of those in power by virtue of your imagination. Congratulations.
Thanks, Budge. My name is Terry Boyce. I'm Dean of Students, and I'm going to sneak in a quick congratulations. My role is to introduce your student speaker for today. Jenna Krosick was born in Northampton. She attended kindergarten through 8th grade at Notre Dame Immaculate Conception School, and she graduated from Northampton High, where she was a peer mediator. During her high school years, she developed an interest in business. Several of her friends attended GCC. She was sold by their enthusiasm and registered here as a business administration transfer major. While at GCC, she developed a strong interest in business entrepreneurship and became the manager of Cafe Academia. Cafe Academia is a coffee shop located in the East Building and was founded by our business club. Jenna volunteered her time and worked the entire summer to open the cafe, and then spent the first month of this academic year working alone while she organized and scheduled her fellow club members. As a student, Jenna has served the college in the following capacities: a student trustee in year 06-07, board member of trustee Academic Affairs Committee 06-07, Foundation Board student rep 06-07, business club member 05-07, and she's also served as the business club president this spring. I know that her family is very proud, as within the hour or so, she'll be the first generation college graduate. Away from school, Jenna's passion is horses and horseback riding. She's owned her own horse since the age of 11, and she's trained in dressage, a classical discipline in equestrian sport. Jenna's been accepted at both Bay Path College in the Business Entrepreneurship Program and at Eisenberg School of Management at the University of Massachusetts. From the excitement in her voice, I suspect that we'll see Jenna dressed in Minuteman colors in the fall. I know that either of those institutions will be proud to have you as a student. Jenna's passion for entrepreneurship is clear. She describes it as exciting, always changing with unlimited possibilities and intriguing balance between challenge and fun. I've had the privilege to know Jenna, and I can assure you that she has been an outstanding advocate for all students. She's kind, assertive, fun-loving, with a great sense of humor, and she's always sporting a big smile. Students, friends, and family, representing the GCC graduating class of 07, it is my privilege to introduce our student trustee, Jenna Krosick.
Well, my speech is not nearly as long as any of those other ones were. I'm sorry. But I will say that I am honored to have been chosen as the student speaker to represent the Greenfield Community College class of 2007. We've juggled homework, jobs, relationships, and perhaps even children to be sitting in these seats today, and for that we should be immensely proud. Some of us are continuing on to pursue a bachelor's degree, and some of us are entering the workforce now as a college graduate, among many other paths I'm sure will be taken. It was here at GCC that I recognized my passion for entrepreneurship, having been involved with every phase in the renovation of Cafe Academia, as Terry said, a coffee bar owned and operated by the business club, after our cafeteria closed last summer. Each step of the way was exciting, from picking the countertops, to the signage, to the colors of the walls, to deciding where the coffee grinders were going to go. I felt a strong sense of pride in GCC after being involved in that entire planning process, and my advocacy for our school will remain strong. It's hard to put my time here at GCC into words. I've learned how to become a strong advocate for the enterprises I've had such a strong passion for. This year's business club was by far the largest and most active group of individuals that I've ever been a part of. And I'm proud to say that we sent over 18 club members to New York City for a class trip on the profits of our cafe. I enjoyed every aspect of my duties as cafe manager and president, and will continue to be inspired by the motivation and drive that I felt from and saw within my fellow club members and advisor, Mr. Tom Simmons. GCC has meant something different to everyone, and I know I'll leave here today with memorable recollections of the friends I've made and the way those friends have carried me through difficult calculus problems, or laughed with me when we heard Jeff Galbraith's famous "How art thou?" every day in the hallway, or Ryan Vino's Wookiee calls in the New York City subways on our business club field trips. GCC has become a place for us to grow together, despite our many differences. Although some of us may feel more connected here than others, we've learned to connect with people here that we may never have been given the chance to in a different setting. We've learned how to collaborate with others, especially those holding views different from our own. We've learned how to seek any and all resources we may need, and we've learned how to be resourceful. We've learned that there is beauty in diversity, and we've all become more principled human beings. This part just came into my speech this morning. An interesting thing happened to me yesterday morning. My sister and I were on our way to feed our horses in Amherst around 7 in the morning, still probably asleep for the most part. And as we turned a corner in the road, the sky in front of us was suddenly filled with about 10 hot air balloons, some hovering just barely above the ground, some steadily moving upward, and some soaring high in the sky. Some were small, and some were enormous. I realized then that those hot air balloons were hugely symbolic of our graduating class. We've come together from many different backgrounds, areas of study, and life adventures, but most importantly, we're here together today. The hot air balloons may have been scattered amongst each other, but they were all close together, in the same place in the sky. We may be in many different places in life right now, but just like the hot air balloon hovering just above the ground, soon we'll all be the ones soaring high up in the sky. Congratulations, guys.
Good afternoon. I'm David Ram, Dean of Academic Affairs. I'm here right now to present Dan LaRose to you for emeritus status, and I'll ask Dan to come over here now and stand beside me. Dan LaRose graduated in 1965 with an associate's degree in psychology. Completed his bachelor's in psychology at American International College and earned his master's in guidance at Springfield College. During that time, he interned at GCC, which developed into a counseling, then teaching position. For nearly 40 years, Dan has served the college as a teacher, co-founder of the Human Ecology Program, chair of the Social Science Department, and recently as the Associate Dean for Behavioral Sciences. Jenna mentioned that one of the things that she thinks you folks have learned here is how to be a principled human being. I will say that Dan lives the GCC principles of education, nurturing aspirations, exploring ideas, adapting to change. Dan is the lifelong learner that we hope all of our graduates become. Curious about students and learning, his contributions to the GCC community have been bold and innovative. Dan was one of the first to incorporate computers into his teaching, one of the first to win private and public grants, including one from the National Science Foundation. Dan co-created the groundbreaking Project Team, the totally enclosed modular environment, as the capstone experience for students in the Human Ecology Program. His curricular leadership garnered national and international recognition, including a summer-long exhibition at France's National Museum of Science and Technology in Paris in 1983. In addition to being innovative, Dan has provided a reliable, steadying influence on students as well as faculty and staff. His commitment to students created a sense of community far beyond the classroom or the semester, developing a cadre of dedicated alumni who returned to campus for over 20 years for the annual team mission event. His dedication to the college often took the form of college service. On behalf of the faculty and professional staff, Dan had leadership roles in the GCC Professional Association and the Massachusetts Community College Council. In recent years, he has taken on increasingly college-wide responsibility, serving on many key committees. The multiple roles he has performed over the decades demonstrate Dan's passion for the college. One of Dan's longtime colleagues writes, "It is difficult to think of anyone who was more deserving of emeritus status. Dan has been at GCC since 1968, and in that time has made contributions academically and administratively that few, if any, can match. From counseling veterans returning from Vietnam to serving as chair of behavioral sciences and establishing and directing a program that gained national and international acclaim, Dan is a model of what all of us should strive to be in enhancing teaching and learning at GCC. Dan, it's my privilege and honor to award you with Professor Emeritus.
Hello, my name is Leo Juan Carlos. I'm an Associate Dean of Humanities. Budge, could you come up? I'm here to present the similar honor, Professor Emeritus to Budge. Good. Nice to see you again. Teaching is today, and always has been.
Gotta hold him up to make sure he does this right.
Teaching is today and always has been an expression of love. The profession is tied intrinsically to the sharing of wealth, the gifting of knowledge and skill, the opportunity to share oneself with students who are thirsting for knowledge. In exchange, as teachers, we have the special opportunity to witness the growth of a scholar from mere sapling to a well-established tree with limbs and branches that we have helped prune and nurture in various directions. Beyond that, we reap the gifts of immortality from our students. Through our students, we see ideas come to fruition. We are challenged to think beyond our comfort zones and see the world from new and different perspectives. All things change. That is the nature of life. But at the root, deep within the core, there are the influences, the seeds that blossom into poets, painters, philosophers, photographers, and physicists. For so many people, his students, his peers, artists, and scholars, Budge Hyde has embodied the role of the rich, challenging, combative, and nurturing planter of seeds. He has grown and evolved beyond weight or dimension as a scholar of the richest, one who values curiosity, exploration, discovery, and the context within which we place those things. In Plato's Symposium, Plato relates Diotima's perspective on aging and immortality, rebirth and renewal, that this universal experience, this heightened sense of possibility lies within us all, that we are always, and I quote Plato, being renewed in some respect and experiencing loss in others. Our knowledge changes too, some items emerging while others others are lost so that we are not the same static person as regards our knowledge. Indeed, each individual item of knowledge goes through the same process of growth and loss. What is called studying exists because knowledge goes from us. Forgetting is the departure of knowledge, while study puts back new information in our memory to replace what is lost, so maintains knowledge that it seems to be the same. This is the way that every mortal thing is maintained in existence, not by being completely the same as divine things are, but because everything that grows old and goes away leaves behind another new thing of the same type. This is the way that mortal things have a share in immortality, physically and in all other ways. It is to achieve immortality that everything shows this enthusiasm, which is what love is. As an institution, we are losing Professor Budge Hyde and closing the door to an era, and yet he is not completely gone. And so long as students hold brushes and models pose amidst easels, so too will Budge's presence continue on infinitely through his students' collective knowledge, this institution's memory, and the art that will flow forth like the leaves on those birch trees out there. It is my pleasure to confer upon Professor Budge Hyde the honor of Professor Emeritus in recognition for all the nurturing of students he has done since 1972 and for the immortal gifts of possibility that he leaves behind.
My congratulations to both Budge and Dan. GCC is blessed to have many teachers. There are those teachers that teach in the classroom, and there are those that you know, that you learn from outside the classroom. I'd like to introduce to you Merrill Sackett and John Murphy. Not only do they make this event possible every year, but they're part of the teaching team at GCC. Merrill?
Before we hand out special departmental awards, we have something very unique and very special that we are going to do, and we hope that you enjoy this and cherish it as much as we do. It is a great honor for me to call upon the stage the oldest son and second of Budge Hyde. These are David Hyde and John Hyde, David once being the Vice President of our Student Senate. Will they please come up on stage? Thank you. Who? Mark, are you here too, Mark Hyde? Will you please come up as well, Mark? Is he here, Mark? Is Mark here? Come on up, Mark. I remember Mark playing football in high school. Oh, my goodness. I love these guys. Here we go. I am going to turn this microphone over to David Hyde, who will now let you know exactly why we're going to make a real fool out of Budge Hyde. Here we go.
Is this a roast?
This is.
Good morning. My name is John Hyde, and this is my brother David and Mark. David and I were GCC alumni quite some time ago, a few years ago, and we are honored to represent my sister Jennifer and Leslie, Mark and David and I, to... Oh my God.
He's worse than I am.
We would like to introduce the T. Budge and Janine Hyde Award and Scholarship.
This scholarship will be awarded annually to an outstanding art student graduating from Greenfield Community College. For several years now, my brothers and sisters and I have been planning to introduce this scholarship at the time of our father's retirement, and we were beginning to think that that day wasn't going to come. Finally, he sprung it on us, and that day is here. My father's been a special kind of teacher, things you've already heard. He has influenced innumerable lives over the last 35 years. I can't begin to tell you the number of former students of his who have come and addressed me and shared with each of us the impact and influence he has had in their education, but also their lives. As a father, he has also instilled in each of his children all that we have heard from our college's president today. He has been praised by many also as being their favorite professor. We hope this scholarship will honor our father's legacy as a teacher and an artist. We've included our mother to recognize her very important impact as partner and strength as he has pursued his passions for painting and teaching. We'd now like to present this plaque to our father and hope that it will hang in the art department to recognize each of the recipients. We would like to, we're finding the award here that's here, because we'd like to present the first annual, or the first T. Budge and Janine Hyde Art Scholarship. This recipient was chosen, we hope in future years to have our father choose this recipient, but I think this year's recipient was chosen very well. And we appreciate the art department's assistance in this. She was chosen because of her great performance and outstanding performance as a student with special interests in painting. Her work has been praised by many as being highly content-oriented. We are proud to present this year's T. Budge and Janine Hyde Scholarship Award and scholarship that comes with a $1,000 scholarship to Samantha Nye.
You're all set? Thank you. Congratulations there, Professor Hyde.
I only have one more speech to make, that's all.
These are department awards, folks. This is liberal arts. Each year, the faculty and professional staff recognize the achievement of a student in the liberal arts. The recognition is based on several factors. Among them, the cumulative grade point average, the relatively demanding nature of his/her chosen course of study, the completion here at GCC of the greatest portion of his/her studies, and the breadth and variety of involvement with the liberal arts. This year, the recipient of a certificate of recognition, as well as, we hope, a useful gift for having achieved the highest distinction in the liberal arts, Emily Hauk. Oh, I love it. That was so enthusiastic. Yay, Emily. Liberal arts dance. For excellence in dance and dedicated support of the GCC Dance Department, Sarah Shepard. liberal arts, science. The award is given to a 2007 graduate who has demonstrated outstanding academic achievement and commitment to the study of science. This year's award goes to Nicholas Ojala. These are Business and Information Technology Awards for excellence in accounting. Robert Zillen. For excellence in business administration, Jenna Krozik. In the case of Jenna, rather than coming up and down, back and forth, I knew this. I would like you to also know this is a special award. It has a businesswoman on top with her little briefcase, yes indeed. 2007, and it says Jenna Krozik, GCC Business Club, and student trustee, and then, of course, award winner in business. Thank you, Jenna. Moving along, here we go. Art department. Medici or Medici, I never know quite how to say that. This is always too high for me. In the tradition of the Renaissance, artists were builders. It is in that spirit that the Medici Award is made to the graduating students whose growth has been characterized not only by aesthetic sensibility, but by curiosity, energy, and the cooperative spirit of the studio. In awarding a tool that can be used to earn a living, to build a dream, the Greenfield Community College art faculty is proud to make this presentation to students who will know how to use it. Emma Gluckman and Samantha Nye. I have to be careful on these. I'll tell you, you don't want to upset those two today. Criminal justice. For outstanding achievement in criminal justice, John Bergen. I don't even want this microphone. In early childhood education, for excellence in the early care and education of young children, Janet Smith. I guess that's not Janet. Okay, fiance, you've got a winner there, honey. Nursing. For academic excellence in nursing, Courtney McDaniel. International Student Scholastic Achievement Award. Greenfield Community College recognizes the achievements of its bilingual graduates. They have completed their graduation requirements in English, which is not their native language. We congratulate them all on this special day. The International Student Scholastic Achievement Award is given to a student who has risen above the language and cultural differences to join the college community and to complete the program of study successfully. This year it is from South Korea, Ji-Soo Kim. Peer tutoring programs. The peer tutoring program would like to recognize the peer tutors and lab assistants who are graduating today for their contributions to Greenfield Community College and their commitment to helping students achieve academic success. As I say your name, will you please rise? Remain in your place standing until all of you have been recognized, and we would love to give you a healthy round of applause. Arthur Baines. Joshua Blumgren, Heather Cassidy, Kendra Kennedy, Elizabeth Doctor, Barbara Erickson, Cassandra Martin, Frank Molina, Carl Palmieri Kudley. Thank you. Carrie Palmieri Kudley, Joshua Stuckey, and Robert Zillen. Thank you. Phi Theta Kappa. Gold tassels and hoods represent membership in the Phi Theta Kappa, our two-year college National Honor Society. Will the members of Phi Theta Kappa please rise and remain in place so that we can applaud your achievements? Phi Theta Kappa. Thank you. We're getting there, folks. Student life. The Charles Green Award is presented to graduating students for leadership in co-curricular activities and the development of the college community. Who is Charles Green, you might ask, as I have for 30 years? Here's the answer. It is named for the first assistant to the president of Greenfield Community College. The award winners this year are Terry Gadu. Please come up, Terry. Jenna Krozik. Liz LaFave. Stacy Stewart. Ryan Vino. Stacy up here. Stace. This one is Ryan Bino. And who else we missing? Let's see. We have, she's not here, Terry, Therese, and then we have Elizabeth. Yes. I would like you to know that this award is given to students who really participate way over and above the responsibility of their classes, whether it be on Activities Council, Student Senate, Business Club, Earth Day activities, etc. And that's why this group has been receiving these awards today, and I thank them very much. Congratulations. And here we go. The Student Life Walter M. Taylor Award. This is the last award, everybody. Here we go. This is presented to a member or members of the faculty, staff, or administration who has given outstanding leadership in the development of co-curricular activities. The award is named for the first president of Greenfield Community College. This year, there are 3 recipients. I will tell you what they do here at GCC. They are our wonderful College Store staff. They are Alicia Bardwell, Karen Cole, and Karen Phillips. Thank you. I would just like to announce that in Karen Phillips, we have the person who is responsible for having the overwhelming task of bringing some food onto campus when our cafeteria went down. In Alicia Bardwell, we have the person who truly is original and creative when it comes to ordering all of your supplies at the College Store. Don't move, Karen. And in the case of Karen Cole, who, by the way, ordered all your caps and gowns for you, and who also is in charge of book ordering each semester, Karen will be retiring after 16 years, and it's with great distress, I might say, I hope the next class has caps and gowns after she leaves, that we offer her this lovely friendship bouquet as a going-away present. Thank you, Karen. Shows how much they care. They're going to waltz right out of the tent now and leave us alone. They are now, of course, going to be running your in the back, the tent, in case you would like to purchase something after this. Now, it is my great pleasure, as I get to walk off the stage finally, to introduce to you our alumni representative. Unfortunately, Regina Curtis could not be here today due to unforeseen circumstances. We have a wonderful, wonderful substitute, one of my favorite colleagues at Greenfield Community College. She is the vice president of our Alumni Association, Professor Emeritus. She graduated from our nursing class in 1965. Yes, she did. She worked as a professor for 34 years, and her name, nurses, Jean Simmons.
Thanks, Meryl, very much. And congratulations to Bud, and also especially to Dan. Dan and I graduated from Northampton High School in 1963, came here in September, and graduated from GCC in 1965 together. So I bet some of you here probably have some connections that might be about the same. So I think that's absolutely wonderful for all of you. I certainly never dreamt that I would have a life such as my time at GCC has been. And I continue to be here, even though I'm retired, working with the nursing program, and I'm so thankful for that and for them. So, representing Regina, our Alumni Association President, I bring greetings from our association and congratulate each of you on achieving this career step in your education and your life. GCC's Alumni Association is an independent organization that cultivates lifelong relationships with current and future alums. As a committed partner and supporter of the college, the association strives to foster a spirit of loyalty among graduates, former students, current students, friends, and the community. The Alumni Association has created an endowed scholarship fund, supports alumni class gatherings. Don't forget that now when your group wants to get together in 5, 10, 15, or 40 years like us. Reunions and professional development for faculty staff. Even today, part of the proceeds from the flowers that are on sale out in front of the tent will go to the Alumni Association. There are several benefits for alumni, including one that may be very relevant right now. Use of the GCC Career Center services, including job search assistance. So alumni are visible frequently in the community, and you're needed to sustain an active, vibrant alumni association. Joining the Alumni Association will give you a platform to share your future success. The next time you may see several alums together is marching in the Franklin County Fair Parade early in September. Please join us. You can find more information about the Alumni Association at alumni@gcc.mass.edu. I'm sure all of you connect to that as we go in and out of Blackboard and everything else. For GCC to continue to be the greatest small college, we do need your support, and we're welcoming you as alumni. Today you'll be given 2 gifts. The first is the GCC alumni calendar, which contains pictures of GCC alums. Alan's going to be mad at me because I forgot to pick up the calendar because I'm supposed to be waving it in front of you. But it has stories. Each of the 12 stories tell the impact of GCC on their lives, including Turners Falls Fire Chief Ray Godin and Florence Savings Bank Senior Vice President Sharon Rogalewski. We also have an application to join our GCC Alumni Association in the calendar. Personally, I advocate the Best Buy. That's a $100 lifetime membership that includes a GCC alumni t-shirt. So please visit our alumni table that is out front today. Check out the bumper stickers and see alums modeling the shirts. The second gift is an alumni pin. It's inscripted with a college motto, the right to think, the will to learn. Your will to learn brought you here today. Thank you so much for choosing GCC. Please stay connected and enjoy your future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Greenfield Community College really is fortunate to have Pat Crossan as the chair of our Board of Trustees. Pat brings with her many years of experience in the School of Education, where she was a faculty member at the University of Massachusetts. She's the former provost at the University of Massachusetts here in Amherst, and she has just been elected to become the new chair of the Board of Trustees Association for the entire Commonwealth's 15 community colleges. So, but beyond the experience that she brings, all of the scholarship that she has done, and the fact that she's such a good person, the number one and most pressing issue for Pat at every meeting is always what's going on for the students, what are we doing for our students, and how does this decision that we're about to make impact our students. At the core of her commitment is her concern for you. Here to bring a message from the Board of Trustees, Pat Crossan.
I am very aware that I am the only one left standing between you and your diplomas. Therefore, I will only take a moment. I want to congratulate you, but before I do that, I do want to second and endorse President Pura's remarks today. I think his 3 points, that GCC is a fabulous learning environment that creates an atmosphere of excitement between faculty and students, point 1, that public education is a real challenge for all of us and one to which we need to commit all of our energies and enthusiasm and to take action, and to endorse Governor Patrick's recent announcement of big support for public education, including free tuition and fees at community colleges. That's only 2. The third of President Pura's remarks, I think, is also really important, and it brings me back to focus on you, and that is the notion that learning how to learn and to go forward with the knowledge of seeing yourself as continuing, ongoing learners is a really important benefit of a college education. So learning how to learn, I think, is a very important thing. So now let me turn my remarks to you. You did it. And actually, these remarks are on behalf of myself and all members of the Board of Trustees. So I speak for all board members, including Jana, who I also want to congratulate for having been a fabulous trustee for GCC. So, you did it. Your families, your significant others, your parents, your friends, all helped you, but you did it. You found the courage and self-discipline and the smarts and intellectual ability to engage in serious study, to take on the coursework, to take on the assignments, the challenging questions and problems. You did this. You earned your diploma. You were able to put other things aside, to put the fun things aside, the social things, the family things, the important things, for long enough to do what you had to do to succeed as a student. You learned the art of juggling lots of responsibilities and still devoting needed time to your academic pursuits. With your successful juggling, you have mastered an indispensable life skill. You were helped along the way by the great faculty members at GCC and by a college that always puts students first. Putting students first is one of the outstanding trademarks of GCC and one of the reasons why I'm so happy to serve as a member of the Board of Trustees. So you were helped by the faculty and you were helped by the college, but you did it. You succeeded. Your success brings you here to this ceremony where we confer diplomas recognizing your accomplishments. And therefore, I am proud to say, and this is the official part that I get to do, by the authority vested in me by the Massachusetts Board of Higher Education under Chapter 15A, Sections 8 and 22 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth, I, Patricia Crossan, Chair of the Board of Trustees of Greenfield Community College, am honored to award the Associate in Arts and the Associate in Science degrees and certificates to those candidates, that means you, who in the judgment of the college have successfully met the requirements for graduation. Congratulations to you all.
Associate in Arts and Liberal Arts, Ashley Kate Abbott, Human Services with honors, also Human Services certificate. Arthur Carlson Baines, Math Science with honors. Evan Anthony Bachet. Corey Bellows. Miranda Michelle Bemis with honors. Jacqueline Bradley. John Calvert with honors. Mark Cameron with honors. Kendra Canaday with honors. Heather Cassidy. Hillary Chapin Bishop. Laura L. Churchill. Megan Cross with honors. Sarah Lynn Doolittle, education. Angela Ferris. Aaron Dean Frentsos. Danielle Adrian Gilbert, International Studies with honors. Bonnie Lee Glover with honors. Heather Hansek. Will Dan LaRose please come over here? Interim Associate Dean of Behavioral Science will confer the diploma upon his staff assistant, Linda Marie Horta, with honors. Emily R. Hoke, Environmental Studies, Human Ecology, with honors. Jeffrey N. Johnson. Stephanie Kaczynski. Galena Kaplan with honors, also licensure for early childhood educator's certificate. William Wright Kazar, English with honors. Jisoo Kim with honors. Monica M. Lane with honors. David Phelps Lang. Marcy Elizabeth Lyons with honors. Amanda Jane Manning. Cassandra L. Martin with honors. Nicholas Oyella, Environmental Studies, Natural Resources. Tina M. Peters, Human Services with honors. Diana R. Peterson, Education with honors. Michelle Lee Plummer, Music with honors. Sarah Ann Shepard, Dance. Renzo Silva, Computer Science. Janet Marie Smith, Education with honors. Jesse Emmanuel Smith. Kim Chu Sok, Computer Science with Honors. Suzanne R. Stanley. Stacy Stewart. Joshua Paul Stuckey with honors. Cynthia Ann Sullivan, Environmental Studies, Human Ecology with honors. Janet Louise Sullivan. Will Cindy Wheeler please come up on stage? Cindy Wheeler, as Public Safety Dispatch Supervisor, will confer the diploma upon her daughter. Diane P.K. Thane, Education. Camelia Vadat. Dylan Michael Veit, English. Christina Noel Whitney. Stephanie Williams, Education. Larina Zarida. Associate in Arts, Business Administration transfer. Christine M. Courtwright with honors. Robert H. Daigle III. Kelly Lee Fisher. Therese E. Gaudu with honors. Jenna Alexander Karazik. Christopher Cusick. Natalia Otel with honors. Associate in Science, Accounting. Kimberly Ann Leisure. Tatiana Prabishuk with honors. Billy Joe Roberts with honors. Lindsay Jane Van Eiderstein. Anita Marie Waite with honors. Robert Lyle Zillen with honors, also computer-assisted bookkeeping certificate. Associate in Science, Computer Information Systems, Dennis A. Kelly. Michael P. Nolan. Associate in Science Management, Kelly Lynn Augustine. Joshua A. Blomgren with honors. Michael H. Quigley with honors. Ryan Scott Vino. Associate in Science Marketing, Hatice Baku, also Associate in Science Office Management. Associate in Science Office Management, Tammy Lynn Green with honors. Also Computer Assisted Bookkeeping Office Assistant Certificates. Associate in Science Art Fine Art, Michelle Bryan. Aaron Michael Shabbat. Elizabeth J. Garcia. Kyle E. Hatch. Helen Elizabeth Miller with honors. Julia Wood Nimzik. Samantha Nye with honors. Will Greg Voros please come up on stage? Greg Voros, Professor of Anthropology, will confer the diploma upon his son. Tyler Charles Voros. Associate in Science Art Communication Design, Heather Anthe Gonis. Associate in Science Art Media Arts, Emma Gluckman with honors. Elizabeth A. LaFave. Frank Molina. Brian Whalen. Associate in Science Criminal Justice, Ethan Banash. John T. Bergen with honors. Patricia Bergen. Andrew Alexander Davis Serow, also Associate in Arts, Liberal Arts. Jennifer A. Houle. Jeremy Wiedenroth. Associate in Science, Early Childhood Education, Laura Elizabeth Blanchette. Melissa Elizabeth Cronin with honors. Dottie L. Dow. April Engley with honors. Claudia Hernandez with honors. Julie Zuckman with honors. Associate in Science, Engineering Science, Kyle James Ament. Associate in Science in Nursing, Tanya Baltzer. Susan Colby. Elizabeth A. Doctor. Barbara D. Erickson with honors. Elizabeth T. Griffin with honors. Carrie Kelleher. Letitia Keys. Rachel Marie Matuski. Courtney McDaniel with honors. Carrie Palmieri. Chien Park. Sybil M. Pike. Elizabeth Smith. Lisa A. Stevens with honors. Christian Traseski. Lisa A. Vaughn. Certificate in Office Assistant, Fevronia D. Michalachenko, also computer-assisted bookkeeping and Microsoft Office application certificates. Certificate in Business Microcomputer Applications, Taryn Marie Johnson. Certificate in Environmental Studies, Natural Resources, Danielle M. Hawley. Certificate in Multimedia Design, Suzanne E. Martinez-Dantonay. Congratulations to you all.
I do want to say congratulations to the faculty and staff, congratulations to the family and friends. Most of all, I want to say congratulations to each of you. You've earned it. You've earned it. We appreciate all of your support for our students, for your family members. I see that the storm is approaching and it's about to start to rain, so we won't go into the 30-minute closing remarks. Travel safely and travel hopefully. Thank you all.